Deep space was quiet but not peaceful. Floating in the dark was a broken human warship. Its lights were dim, most of them out. One side was torn open like a can that had been ripped apart. Inside, silence ruled. On a small alien scout ship nearby, Captain Korvac stood near the front. His skin was gray and rough. His eyes were big and black. He looked at the human ship through a clear panel. "It's dead," said Vektal, his first officer. "Maybe," said Korvac. "But we need to know what happened." They had found the ship drifting alone. No distress call, no life signs. Just silence. The alien crew felt uneasy. There was an old warning among their kind. Never board a human ship. But they did not believe in myths. "Prepare a boarding team," said Korvac. Vektal hesitated. "Are you sure? If they're all dead, what do we gain? Tech, data, maybe weapons. This could be worth much." Vektal nodded slowly. Deep down, he did not like this. Moments later, 4 aliens stepped into a small pod. They wore tight suits with glowing lines. They moved fast toward the human ship. Inside the wreck, things were not as they seemed. In a hidden room, Lena Cruz sat on the floor. Her hands were dirty. She wore a torn uniform, wires stuck from her ears. She listened to the comms. "They're coming," she whispered. Nearby, Derek Hale checked his gun. He was tall, tired, and angry. "Good," he said. "Let them come." Another voice came through the comms. "This is Marcus. I'm in the engine room. Systems are ready." "Copy that," said Lena. "Remember, no noise until they're inside." The humans had been hiding for hours. They knew the alien ship had been watching. They also knew what would happen next. Outside, the alien pod docked with the human ship. The door opened with a hiss. The 4 aliens stepped inside, guns in hand, sensor scanning. "Clear," said one. They moved forward slowly. The halls were dark. Bloodstains were on the walls. Bodies were gone. Everything was too quiet. One alien tapped his scanner. "No life signs, no heat." "Then why am I nervous?" said another. They walked deeper. Then, a soft sound. Metal creaking. A light flickered once. "Stop," said the leader. Too late. From the ceiling, something dropped. It hit the floor with a bang. Smoke filled the hall. Red lights blinked. The comms in the alien helmets cut out, and the hunt began. The smoke filled the hall fast. The alien soldiers blinked through their helmet visors, trying to see. They tapped their controls, but the comms were dead. "Fall back," said the team leader, his voice rough inside the helmet. They turned, but the floor beneath one of them cracked. He dropped suddenly, screaming until the sound was cut off by a heavy clang below. The others froze. From the shadows, something moved. A thin wire shot out from the wall and wrapped around another alien's leg. It pulled hard. He flew off his feet and into the ceiling with a sickening crack. The remaining 2 backed up slowly, guns raised. "This is not a dead ship," one whispered. He stepped forward, and the lights came on. Bright white light flooded the hall. The walls were covered in strange symbols. Some glowed red, others pulsed like heartbeats. A voice came through broken speakers. It was soft at first, then loud. "Welcome aboard." It was a woman's voice. Calm, almost friendly. One of the aliens fired at the speaker. Sparks flew, but the voice kept talking. "You're not the first. You won't be the last." The 2 soldiers looked around. They saw movement in the reflections of their helmets, something crawling behind them. Derek Hale watched from above, crouched in a vent. He held a small remote. On it, a blinking green light. He pressed a button. A panel in the wall blew open. Fire shot out. One alien screamed as his suit caught fire. He ran down the hall, arms flailing. He slammed into a door that opened suddenly. He fell through, and the door shut behind him with a final hiss, alone now. The last soldier stood still, breathing hard. He turned slowly, gun shaking in his hands. From the darkness, a low growl came, then silence. Then a click. Then the sound of metal bending. Something big was moving inside the walls. Back in her hiding spot, Lena Cruz tapped her earpiece. How many left? She asked. Just one, Derek replied. And I think he just met Blinky. Marcus Lee, stuck in the engine room, laughed over the comms. Hope it doesn't get messy. Outside, the alien Captain Korvac waited for reports. Nothing came. Not from the team, not from the sensors. Vektal, his first officer, looked worried. We should pull back, he said. Korvac did not answer. He stared at the human ship like it was watching him. Somewhere deep inside, he knew. His men were not coming back. Not one of them. Korvac stood on his bridge watching the silent human ship like it was a monster sleeping in the dark. He had not heard from his team in 10 minutes, then 15, then 20. Send a signal, he ordered. Vektal tried. Nothing came back. Try again. Still nothing. Korvac clenched his fists. He turned to his tech officer. Scan for life signs. The alien tapped controls. The screen blinked red. I do not understand. What do you mean? There are fewer than before, but some of them are moving faster. Explain. Some signals are jumping between rooms fast, too fast for normal soldiers. Korvac felt cold. He did not want to believe it, but deep down he knew. His men were dying. Alone. Inside that wrecked human ship. He turned to Vektal. Pull them out. Now. Vektal hesitated. We don't know if they're all. Just do it. Vektal nodded and gave the order. But the signal never reached the boarding team, because none of them were alive. Inside the human ship, Lena Cruz sat in the control room. She watched the alien scanner pings fade one by one. Next to her, Derek Hale leaned against the wall, checking his ammo. That's the last of them, Lena said. Good, Derek replied. Now we can get serious. In the engine room, Marcus Lee laughed over comms. You think they're done trying? Nope, Lena said. But we're ready. She pressed a button on the console. Lights flickered across the ship. Doors locked. Traps reset. Drake moved through the halls, dragging something heavy behind him. It looked like a metal spider with glowing eyes. He called it Blinky. It clicked and whirred as it followed him. Its legs scraped the floor. Derek whispered into his mic. I'm heading to Deck 4. Got a surprise waiting. Copy that, Lena said. Don't forget to smile for the cameras. On the alien ship, Korvac paced. He wanted to leave, but something held him back. Pride, fear, curiosity. Then a voice came through the comms. Not from his men, from the human ship. Hello, ugly, said Lena. Thanks for coming aboard. Hope you liked the welcome party. Korvac stared at the screen. Her face appeared for a second. Smiling. You killed my people, he growled. They broke the rules, she said. And now you're next. The comms cut out. Silence. Then, the human ship lit up like a war machine waking from sleep. And Korvac knew. This was not over. It was just getting started. Korvac stared at the screen where Lena's face had been. His hands trembled with anger. Vektal stood beside him, watching the human ship glow like it was alive again. They mock us, Korvac growled. Vektal did not speak. He watched the sensors. Something inside the human ship was moving. Fast. Too fast. Prepare another team, said Korvac. Vektal blinked. What? But the last. This time, we go in force. Vektal wanted to argue, but he knew better. He gave the order. On the human ship, Lena sat at the main console. She tapped buttons, checking cameras. On the screens, she saw the alien pod launching from their scout ship. Here we go again, she muttered. Derek Hale stood near a broken wall, looking at Blinky. The drone clicked and spun its head. One red eye blinked like it was thinking. Ready, buddy? Derek asked. He pressed a button on his belt. Blinky's legs unfolded like a spider waking up. It made a low hum and moved into the shadows. Back on the alien ship, the second boarding team entered the human vessel. This time, there were 6 of them. Heavier armor, bigger guns. They stepped through the airlock and into silence. Then, lights flickered. "Stay tight," said the leader. They moved down the hall. Every step echoed. They passed rooms filled with old bloodstains and broken panels. One alien looked at a camera on the wall. It turned to face him. He flinched. Then the screen flashed. A message appeared. "You're getting closer." He backed away. Then a loud clang came from behind them. The door slammed shut. They were locked in. "Move!" the leader shouted. They ran forward, deeper into the ship. Derrika watched from a vent above. He tapped his earpiece. "Len, they're heading your way." "Copy that," Lena replied. "I've got a little surprise waiting." The aliens reached a junction. 2 paths. "Split up," said the leader. 2 soldiers went left. 4 kept going straight. The 2 who turned left walked into a room filled with blinking lights and wires hanging from the ceiling. A voice came from a speaker. "Welcome to the party." Before they could react, metal arms shot out from the walls. Wires wrapped around their suits. Sparks flew. Screams filled the comms. Then silence. Derrika smiled. "Damn, Lena's good." Meanwhile, the rest of the team kept moving. They heard footsteps behind them. Not boots. Something else. Clinking. Clicking. Something followed them. From the dark, Blinky stepped into view. Its red eye lit up, and it charged. The aliens fired. Bullets bounced off its frame. Blinky leapt onto the nearest soldier. Metal claws tore through armor like paper. The others ran, but they were not alone anymore. The ship itself seemed to come alive. Doors opened without warning. Floors shook. Lights blinked like a heartbeat. Somewhere deep inside, Lena whispered into her mic, "This is what happens when you don't listen to the rules." The alien soldiers ran through the dark halls, their boots echoing like gunshots. Smoke filled the air. One of them was missing an arm. Another limped, holding his side. Blinky followed behind them, moving fast. Its legs clicked against the floor, red eye glowing. It did not stop. Did not slow. Derek watched from above, crawling through a vent. He tapped his earpiece. "Len, you seeing this?" "Yeah," Lena replied. "They're heading toward the reactor room." "Good. Marcus better. Be ready." Deep inside the ship, Marcus Lee sat on the floor, back against a broken console. Sweat dripped down his face. His skin was pale. Radiation burns marked his arms. He looked at the control panel in front of him. Wires stuck out like wild hair. His hands shook as he reached for a switch. "Come on, old girl," he whispered. "Don't fail me now." Back in the hall, the alien leader shouted orders. 2 soldiers were left. They turned a corner and found a sealed door. "Open it," he yelled. One of them hit the button. The door groaned and started to slide open. Then the lights flickered. A voice came through the speakers. "You really should have listened." The door slammed shut again. Metal locks shot into place with loud clanks. From behind, Blinky appeared. The soldier closest to it screamed. He fired his rifle point blank. Sparks flew, but the drone kept coming. Its claws sliced through his helmet like butter. The last soldier tried to run, but the floor cracked beneath him. He fell through and landed hard in a lower level. He groaned, trying to stand. A light blinked above him. Something dropped from the ceiling with a hiss. It landed in front of him. Tall. Metal. Eyes glowing red. Blinky dropped down beside it. 2 machines now. The alien backed away. Then both moved at once. On the alien ship, Korvac paced the bridge. Vectel stood near the controls, watching the sensors. "Nothing," Vectel said. "Not even comms," Korvac growled. "Send a final team, now." Vectel hesitated. "Captain, we only have 4 left." "Then send all 4. Vectel wanted to argue, but he knew better. He gave the order. As the pod launched toward the human ship, Lena watched from her seat. "Here we go again," she muttered. Dereki tapped his mic. I hope you've got something big, Len. Oh, she said, smiling. I do. She pressed a button. Lights across the ship turned red. Warnings flashed on every screen. Reactor core. Overload in progress. Somewhere deep inside. Marcus looked up. He smiled and closed his eyes. For Earth, he whispered. Just as the last alien team stepped onto the ship, the walls began to shake. The end was coming, and this time, there would be no escape. The alien pod crashed into the human ship like a stone thrown through glass. Sparks flew. Alarms screamed. Smoke rolled out from the docking point. 4 soldiers stepped out, guns raised. Their suits glowed with energy shields. They moved fast, scanning every shadow. They had no time to think. From the dark, something charged. Derek. Hale jumped down from a broken ceiling beam swinging a metal pipe. He hit one alien hard in the helmet. The shield cracked. The alien fired. Dereki rolled away, hiding behind a wall. Blinky appeared next. Its red eye blinked once. Then it lunged. Metal claws tore into armor. One alien went down screaming. Another tried to run but slipped on blood and fell. A voice came through the comms. Hey, ugly, said Lena. You really don't learn. Do you? Korvac heard her voice over the dying comms on his ship. He gritted his teeth. Stop this, he said. I will not lose more men. Vectel looked at him. Then call them back. They're already inside. On the human ship, the last 2 aliens fought hard. They backed into a hallway that was lined with blinking panels. Dereke watched from a vent above. Len, he whispered. Ready the charge, she said. He pressed a button on his belt. The floor beneath the aliens opened. They fell, yelling, into darkness. They landed in a room filled with wires and glowing pipes. In the center stood a console with a blinking red light, and Marcus Lee. He sat against the wall, barely alive, eyes half open, lips dry. The aliens pointed their guns. Marcus smiled. Welcome to the engine room, he said. He slammed his hand on the console. Lights across the ship turned red. Sirens howled. Reactor overload, final stage. The aliens tried to run, but the doors sealed shut. They pounded on the metal. Above, Derek pulled Lena toward the escape hatch. We need to go, he yelled. She tapped the comms one last time. Send it out, she said. A message began to broadcast across all known alien channels. It was Korovac's voice. Never board a human ship. Never trust their silence. Never believe they are weak. Back. On the alien ship, Vectel stared at the screen. Captain, Kovac did not move. He watched as the human wreck lit up like a sun. Then it exploded. Shockwaves rolled through space. Nothing survived. Derek and Lena floated in an escape pod watching the fire fade. Did we win? Derek asked. Not sure, Lena said. But they won't be coming back. Years would pass. Stories would spread. And across the stars, a new warning would be born. Never board a human ship. Years passed. Space was still big, still dark, still full of ships and voices that did not always speak the same language. But among alien traders, scouts, and soldiers, one message spread like fire. Never board a human ship. Some laughed. Some scoffed. Others remembered what happened to Korvac and his crew. His final transmission played in war colleges, trade hubs, and quiet corners of deep space bars. Never board a human ship. Never trust their silence. Never believe they are weak. His voice became legend. On Earth, Lena Cruz stood in front of a crowd. Medals hung from her chest. She didn't ask for them, didn't want them. But there they were. She spoke about what happened on that broken warship, how they survived, how they fought back. Not because they were heroes, because they had no choice. Dereki Hale watched from the back. He wore plain clothes now, tried to live like a normal man. But sometimes at night, he dreamed of blinking red lights and clicking metal legs. He never forgot Blinky. Marcus Lee had a statue built in his name. It stood near a training base. Young recruits walked past it every day. They read his last words carved into the stone. For Earth, far away in the cold dark of space, alien captains told stories to new recruits, of a ghost ship that floated alone, of a voice that welcomed you like a friend, of something called Blinky, that hunted in the walls, and of humans who did not die easy. Korvac's scout ship was never found, only pieces. Floating where the explosion left them, Bechtel returned home. He never commanded another mission. He wrote reports, gave warnings, he told anyone who would listen. Humans do not fight like others. They do not follow rules. They do not stop. Some thought they were monsters. Others began to wonder if they were something else, something dangerous, something worth fearing, or maybe even respecting. In the end, the stars belonged to many. But humans, they did not ask permission. They took what they wanted and they made sure the galaxy remembered one thing. Not because they were the strongest, not because they had the best weapons, but because they scared the stars themselves. And no one ever forgot. Never board a human ship.